All right. What's going on, guys? How are you today? Welcome to the Caricature Art live stream. I am Mr. Rouse. I'm going to be your caricature tour guide for this morning. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. Just real quick, a couple of little small announcements before I begin our little practice session together. If you benefit or you feel like you benefited from the stream, this is my full-time employment, so tips would be appreciated. Thank you so much, guys, in advance for your tips. Also, guys, you probably want to inquire about classes, or can I learn more about this and all that kind of stuff. And if that's a question that you have as well, you can also reach out to us at rouserworld.com/classes, and you can take classes with me as well. So I just wanted to put those little commentaries out there, and now we're going to go ahead and get started. So if you guys have pencils or markers or whatever you like to draw with, it really doesn't matter. It's always the artist. It's not the tool. Okay. If you have art in in your head and your mind, then no matter what you pick up, you should be able to create something. So today we're going to be going over just some exaggeration fundamentals, ones that I've learned, ones that maybe perhaps I'm still practicing and we can learn together. So this stream is not like me being this master cartoon guy and you guys are sitting there saying, "Oh, he's such a master." No, it's us learning together. I prefer to present it that way. This way everybody stays humble. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so let me go ahead and plug this in. I don't know that's kind of bothering me. I can't find my pen. I wonder where the last place I was with that pen. It's in here somewhere. Gosh, I gotta learn how to put things back. That's my problem, right? Oh, I found it right here. Bam. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in, guys. So we're gonna pull up some pictures here. I think the best thing to do is we're gonna work out of Pinterest, because it has models that we can just kind of flip through, and all I have to do is just pick one and go from that screen. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, hold on. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about proportions, why proportions even matter in a caricature, right? So we're going to address proportions. We're going to explain the importance of proportions and creating convincing and humorous type of caricature. So we're going to talk about, again, what is it that makes us look like us? And that is this word right here. The word is proportions, right? I'm going to talk about some key facial features, and that we're going to be actually focusing on throughout this whole stream. Okay, so we're going to talk about these proportions. So what are our proportions? Well, proportions are simple. Okay, proportions are how can I put it like this? If you have a pie, right? Okay. If I split this pie in 4 pieces, right? And I cut out this part of the pie, I have cut out a portion of, right? So now the proportions of that cut is 3:1. It's how this shape is situated or compared in comparison to these shapes, okay? So when we draw a face, let's just keep the shape simple, okay? It's the same thing. The face is kind of divided in quadrants, right? And so this establishes proportion. What proportions does it establish? Well, it establishes your jawline, right, in relation to your forehead, right? That's one proportion that it does, right? It also proportions side to side, right? To make sure one side is equal to the other, right? What else can we use this for? Well, we can use these lines, right, to proportion features. Like, for instance, if we want to put eyes, and we put eyes here on this line, right? Using this line, we have said that proportionately our eyes are closer together on this person, right? We could also move those apart and say proportionately they are further apart. Now, generally, you're going to have three lines. You're going to have your eye line, you're going to have your nose line, and then you'll have somewhere where your mouth will hang from. So what I'll do is I'll just put another line here. This will represent the space between the nose and the mouth. And then there's a line here where your mouth just kind of hangs off of it, like this little shape right here. Okay, so, and then your nose kind of sits right here, and this is like that drop in between. And then you have your eyebrows. Okay, so by understanding these 1, 2, 3, 4 lines, and then in relation to this big circle, we can see that we can manipulate proportion by using these shapes. Okay, so some of the facial features that we're going to focus on in this stream, we're going to be going particularly through eyes and nose and mouth placement. Okay, one of the biggest, I think, mistakes that caricaturists make in this particular art form is that they try too much to copy exactly what they're seeing from the person, and not spending enough time in the essence of that person. Okay, and the essence of that person is captured by how well you can play with these proportions. Okay, so let's go ahead, and we're gonna just kind of go into some small exercises here that we're going to do together. So we're going to just kind of create some random faces. Okay, and I'll tell you what, I'll just give you some eyes. We'll just use some circles, either a hook or a straight or a U or I don't know, maybe or a V or something. So those will be my noses here, my eyes, and then we can use this shape here as a mouth, right? Okay, and then we got some eyebrows right here. Okay, whatever. Okay, so down here, what we want to do again is we want to come with our shape. So let's say this is our head shape is a square, or if our head shape is a triangle. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, or an iron. I never call head shapes. I always call them something other than that. This way it's easier for me to actually exaggerate that thing. Okay, so let's see here. Hold on a sec, guys. Okay, all right, so if we're going to first of all look at our eye line here. Okay, so we're going to say we're going to first separation I would do is not the eye line, but how much do I want up to be the jawline, how much do I want it to be the forehead. So that's the first line I'll establish, and then after that I use that line as my reference point for where my eyes are going to be, basically. All right, then I establish where I want my nose to be, my nose to stop at. Then I establish where I want my mouth to start at. Okay, and then I divide the head in half. Okay, same thing over here. Let's put our eyes down here somewhere. Put our nose right here, and let's put our mouth shape about right here. Okay, so what we want to do now is we're going to come back and we're going to place our eyes. So let's just say on this guy here, we've determined that this guy here has his eyes are close together. So let's just put some circles here. And all that means is proportionately the eyes are closer to the center line in this picture than the average person. That's all you're saying. I notice that his eyes are closer to the center line. All right. Now our nose is going to start right here. Okay, so I'm going to go over here and pick a nose. Maybe I'll pick this one here. So my nose stops there. Okay, and then I'll come over here and I'll grab this mouth shape. Remember, the mouth shape hangs off of this shape. So this line. So if I do like this, I've successfully hung my mouth off of that line. You get what I'm saying? You understand this is like a little space where it just hangs off. And then you have your eyebrows, which are over here. So let's do like this. Okay. Now, over here, we can use these same exact features. Okay. And we can actually, excuse me. Oh, hey, Lake Art, how are you today? Welcome to the stream. Okay. All right. So we can also take these same features and we can use them over here. Okay. So these same features, let's just say I move them further apart. So I'm going to decide that my eyes proportionately are going to be smaller circles that are further apart, right? And then let's just say my nose here is going to be the same nose here, but I'm going to make it proportionately smaller, right? And then I'm going to use my mouth and make it proportionally smaller, okay? And then I'll use the eyebrows, and I'll always position them. Usually your eyebrows are going to be about the same size as your eyes. And then your ears just kind of hang out right here around this line here, okay? So you see, these proportions are what make people look different. This is why you can watch a cartoon and you ever notice how like somebody maybe like Charlie Brown, if you ever watch Charlie Brown, if you take the hair off and the clothes, right, and stuff like that, the way they're dressed, kind of like, you'll notice that all the characters really look exactly the same. But why do they appear different to us? It's because it's not about really how your face looks. It's more about the placement of your features. Even if they're the same, the placement can be slightly different, right? And then obviously clothing articles, things like that also play a part in what you look like. So this is the importance of understanding how to do proportions. So that really is kind of like a little warm up or a precursor of what I'm going to be doing in the class right here. Again, we'll just do some more. 1, 2, right? And then we come back here, 3. And then let's say this is my mouth down here. Let's say I hung the mouth down here. Well, now I can do like this. And now this is one of those situations where my mouth flows and it's so far down that I don't even have a chin. You get what I'm saying? So let's say you notice that somebody has a small chin, and maybe you might want to exaggerate the fact that they have a small chin by virtually giving them no chin. You understand? Hey, Gordon, how are you today? Welcome to the stream. I just want to take a quick intermission, guys, to give a special shout out to my top tier Patreon, Gordon. Thank you, Gordon, so much for supporting me the way you have over these years, you and Cherish. So I just want to shout out to my 2 top tier Patreons, Gordon and Cherish. Thank you very much, guys, as well as all of my other Patreons. If you guys are not a member of our Patreon page, you ought to really go over there and check it out. It has some pretty cool stuff about caricature, and also, you know, a little bit about a little behind the scenes stuff where I get to talk about life and things of that nature. So if you guys want to check that out, go over to patreon.com/RowserWorld. I'll put the information up here at the end of the stream for you. And my moderator is not here yet, so usually she'll take care of that, but I'll do it here in just a sec. Okay. All right. So let's take this science then and see if this is actually. So let's look over here and turn this page over, right? And we got several different like little faces, right? So we're gonna go into exaggerating the features. That's what this part is. Let me just write down what we're doing. Exaggerating features, and these are the key proportions in caricature. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. In caricature, excuse me, simple guidelines show how to break down the head into sections. I did that. Demonstrate how these sections relate to each other. Okay, we did that. So that's the foundation. Okay, so what we just went over, guys, was pretty much the foundation of of caricature. Okay, let's go back. So the foundation is this. The foundation is just learning how to use these lines to make cartoons. Okay, these lines are very simple. I think sometimes in an effort to sell a video, they over dramatize drawing sometimes on YouTube. So it's not really as hard. It really is just taking the practice and then also just developing your eye. And believe it, I don't care what every artist sees differently, and only because our associations with life are a little bit different. But anyway, this is that. So let's go to the key proportions. We're going to focus on specific features like eyes, the nose, the mouth, and explaining common exaggeration techniques. Okay, so we're going to go here to some of my common techniques I like to use when I draw. Okay, one of my easiest ways, or the fastest ways to capture proportion is to think of your face as a basic idea like this first. Okay. Okay, this is how you need to think of your face. A lot of time, and I know this is where this is the step you probably skip right over, and you go right into drawing the picture, and then you be lost because you didn't think about the proportions first. So this is an easy way to be able to do proportion before you even start the picture. For instance, you're noticing that the let's just say this is your center line, and this is your eye line, your nose line, and your mouth line, right? So all you're doing is practicing doing this. Okay? All right? Okay? Yeah, where you go like this. So you can have them all right next to each other. Okay? Okay? And then this can be in relation to a big head. You understand what I'm saying? So it's really how well you use this. Okay, this is your proportion guideline, just pretty much a little DNA chain in the middle of your face, and you know that eyes, nose, hang the mouth. You can't really miss with this. If you just 1, 2, 3, and then you can bend it. You can go eyes, right? You can go nose, then you can go mouth. You can have a mustache in here, right? If you want something a little bit closer to the nose, you can go like this. 1, okay, 2, and then we can go 3, right? So now my nose is here and my mouth is a little bit closer. You get what I'm saying? My eyes are still going to be here. So the center line is so important to drawing your picture. You have to really pay attention to that. Okay, so let's look at, this is one of the most common techniques I use to exaggerate with. In my mind, I think of it like this. So let's look at a picture from over here to show you how helpful that is. Okay, so let's look at common technique number 2, and that is or part 2 of my common techniques. And that is, if we look at, let's just say we look at this face here. Okay. All right, hold on. All right, here. All right. If we try to draw this face and we try to do too much sketching, right? It really is going to mess up. But if I just do like this and say, okay, what is my face basically doing? And I'm looking at his eyeballs, right? Hold on. I could do it like that, but this is what I'm doing. I'm looking at his eyeballs. Okay, he's looking over there. This is his nose generally, right? And then this is his mouth generally. Get what I'm saying? So now I have an idea of where, you get what I'm saying, of where I want to go. You know, you can see the teeth here, right? So this is easier for me to get to the final situation, right? If I have a firm command of my proportions. I notice how his eyes look like his eyes here, even though I didn't draw all of his eye. All of these type of things. This is a common exaggeration technique. I think of the eye as a whole object. I don't think of it as I don't think of it as these parts like there's a outside and then there's an inside, and then I don't think of it like that. I think of, first thing I look at is, what does the eye overall feel like to me? If it's an overall big shape, right? I'm going to write, like, if you look here, if it's an overall big shape, the pupil itself, right? How much of it is exposed? That's what I'm looking for. I only look at this part of the eye right here. Okay? Once I have that part of the eye, that's what this is. Looking where I want it to go, it's easy for me to add space around the eye, right? To make it look like his eyes are wide open. You get what I'm saying? But when you look at, if this right, doing it with the circles first makes you be able to utilize this to your advantage, because you don't know what you're looking at when you look at the eyes. You're not looking, when you see how far somebody's eyes are apart, you're not looking at the outside shape, you're looking at their pupils. You just don't understand that. So if you're looking at that's why when you go to an optometrist, they say, what's your pupillary distance? They give you a ruler and then look at your eyes like this, right? And I know you guys can't see me on TikTok, but they look at your eyes to determine how far your eyes are apart from each other. This is how you can do offset eyes. If you ever drew a caricature and you couldn't get an offset right, it's because you're trying to draw the outside of the eye first. And so you can't get there because you don't have a reference point. But if I'm here, and this is the center of the face right here, all I'm going to do, let's say this is one eye, all I have to do to offset the eye is make one eye further away from the center line than the other. You get what I'm saying? So now this eye is looking at me. This eye is kind of over here, right? You get what I'm saying? So you want to, you create this, you create that imbalance by looking for, by using this to your advantage. You get what I'm saying? You just put your eyes in different positions based off of this, okay? Oh, wait, let me see something. You know what? That's interesting. Let me see. Wow, interesting. Okay. All right. So let's let me see here. Now we're going to talk about discuss how to adjust the size and placement of features to create humor. All right. So now that we talked about the common techniques, the common techniques, which is basically using expression first and then building my picture around expressions. Once I have that, then I can and I also use my center lines here, but I use them in a more elementary way than what most artists you see do this will use them for. So I'll try to make things simple in my own head. You know what I mean? Okay. All right. So let's go to, let me see how to adjust. So Sam, okay. So this is discuss how to adjust the size and placement of features. Okay. All right. So I guess the third part would be maybe this, and this is kind of a weird concept, but in my head, every time when I draw, I see the eyes and nose and mouth all as these little, I guess maybe we could just call them balls. Okay. And in that ball is going to be, around that ball is a little string like this. No. Okay. So I'm sorry guys, my kids are trying to break in my office right now. All right. Okay. So inside around these little balls are a string, and then kind of when you pull these strings this way, these balls move. So let's say when I pull the string up, right? What happens is that the eyes move out and then the nose moves closer. You know what I'm saying? Everything moves up. You know what I'm saying? So now I've pulled it like this so that everything has moved outwards. You get it? Okay, so this is my eyes here. You get what I mean? So this is a common like way that I look at things when I exaggerate. So when you exaggerate something, something else has to move. You get what I mean? So you just can't randomly just move stuff, but like just draw without considering this. Okay, so one of my exaggeration techniques then is to understand what it is I'm trying to do. So let's say I want to make my my nose appear bigger. Okay, what I like to do is I can play with that exaggeration, I think, one or two ways. So if I'm concentrating on my nose shape, let's say I got my eyes here, I'm going to move my eyes closer together, and then I could make my circle rounder and bigger in proportion. Okay, that's one way I could do it. So one way to make the eyes seem bigger is to move them closer together. Even if you don't move the nose, move the eyes closer together. And what happens is, right, is your nose looks bigger, you see, when you move that proportion closer together. So a guy like this right here, if you're drawing him, you see his nose is big. If you try to keep these same proportions that he has in this picture, okay, something like that, all right, it could be a good caricature, okay, but it's going to be more impactful, I believe, if we move everything closer together and then give him the nose, and then, right, we do like this. Look. You see? So if we do like this and then we give him like the eyes, right? Okay, so you see how much more impactful this is than this, even though his eyes are not that close together in real. You got to understand it is closer together. That's why I'm trying to teach you why you think you're seeing what you're seeing. You get what I'm saying? So it's differently, kind of like explaining somebody's behavior to you. You know, if you're a psychologist, you might see somebody do a certain behavior, and then when you go and examine the behavior and examine the situation, you understand that the behavior, right, was prompted by something else, right? What you were looking at was a result of something that can be explained. And so what you're looking at when you see somebody with a big nose, not only is the nose probably bigger in actual size, but you'll notice that these people's eyes are closer together than the average human being. You get what I'm saying? That's why their noses appear bigger than everybody else's. And I can show you this in any face where somebody has a really big nose. Any picture. Let's look at I'm just going to try to find somebody with a. All right. Let me see. Let me see. I'm trying to find a big nose guy. All right. Let's look at this guy. Okay. He has a lot. He doesn't have a really big nose, but what I would still do is I would want to exaggerate the nose. So by moving my eyes closer also, I'm bringing attention to the nose shape. Okay. So something like this. Let me show you. So watch. I'm going to move everything closer together. Okay, and then I'm going to put his nose exactly like this. Okay. All right, now drop down, right? And we can see that the drop in the mouth is here. So we're going to do something like this. All right. Okay. So we can see here, when we did that, right? Now we do like this. And we form the rest of the eye shape. Okay. Now, watch what happens with my caricature. Okay. Everything gets right. Now, what's more of a convincing caricature? If I just draw the eyes, if I just draw him like this, right? If I just say, okay, I'm going to copy this, I'm going to make it like this, and I'm going to put everything exactly like it is, okay? I still can get a good caricature. Okay? Okay, hold on. Actually, these should have been smaller, but that's still okay. It doesn't really matter. Let's just, okay. So if you look here, both of these are caricatures of this guy, right? But one is a little bit more exaggerated. You get what I'm saying? So this one doesn't look as, even though this is drawn exactly like the picture, you can feel a greater likeness to him in this picture. And this is an extreme push exaggeration, right? I extremely pushed that a little bit, right? To get to push to prove a point. You get what I'm saying? Okay. So any guy with a big nose, this works on. We can even, now her, what I would do here, and again, we're just doing the key exaggerations in caricature right now. Now her, if we look at her, I'm seeing, I want to think about what it is that I want to portray here. Okay, do I want, what do I want? Okay, so with this one, what I want, okay, is I don't want eyes that are close together. In fact, I want eyes that seem to be very long and luxurious, right? And I want some lip. I want a no. I want not a lot of space between my eyes and my nose. I don't want a lot of space between the nose and mouth either. In fact, my exaggeration point is going to be the eyes and the lips, okay? But first and foremost is going to be the eyes on this one, okay? So what I want to do here is determine, okay, first off, what kind of expression do I want to give my character, okay? So I don't necessarily have to do what I see here. I could, if I'm looking at her face, I can say, you know what? If she was like this, right? And then she was like this, let's just say this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a long, flat, luxurious kind of eyeball shape. I want something this big like this. Okay? Then once I have that, right, then I come back here and I want to put my nose shape. But I don't want it to be big. I just want it to be, right? So I'm going to, instead of going with moving the eyes closer, I'm going to actually make the nose size bigger. So that's another way. So here I see a fullness in her nose, but I don't want to make it too big, but I'm not going to move her eyes closer because it won't favor her. So I'm going to use a shape like this. And then I'm going to drop down right here, about right here. This is how much space I want between my lips and my mouth. And then so now all I'm doing is going here and coming here, going down. And this is how much space would be between my lip shape. Okay. Now, what I do is I'm going to go ahead and put some nostrils here, right? Now, watch how I fill the eyes in by making the eyes even longer, all right? But I want to maintain the skinniness of the eye. You get what I'm saying? I want to maintain the skinniness of the eye. So if I draw something that's too wide, I'm going to lose my likeness. Okay? So this might be her eyebrows. I just did something different, right? Now from here, she got really angular. She got a really angular bottom face and a very rounded top of her face. So what I would do is just go like something like this. I go 1, right? 2, right? 3, right? Then you got 4, 1, 2, and then you got this third side over here, which is her hair. Just doing like this, 3, right? Got a little neck shape here, right? And then we have our earrings here. Okay. And now we're just going to do our hair. So the best thing to do with this type of hair is just situate it. If you want a better circle, just make you some points on the hair like this. And then you can, this is how you do a better afro shape. And then you just come around to each part. You can see how that make your afro real nice and round. So that's the key. That's how you can do better. You know, if you that's a quick little way to sketch that in. All right, and then from there we just kind of add some shadows and some lipstick, and we got a good picture, right? Okay. All right, so pretty much that's how you do your picture there. Okay, hold on, guys. I'm trying to find my. What? Okay. All right, so let's take a quick intermission here, guys. If you guys are enjoying the stream, man, tips are appreciated. If you feel like you're benefiting from our stream, you can tip at Cash App $Rouser World. Okay, it's going to help me to get some hearing aids. Because these people, because he keeps, what the heck, man? You know what? Today is just not going. No, it's going perfect. You know what? Today is going perfect. Today is going perfect. But I thought I just had a sharpener in my hand, and then I did just have a sharpener in my hand because I remember I sharpened my pencil earlier. Like, what did I do with it? Okay, well, we'll find it in a minute here, won't we? Okay. Anyway, and what? As soon as I get off the stream and I'm not looking for it, I thought maybe it fell on the floor. Did it fall on the floor? Interesting. Okay. I guess we'll have to travel down the road, the proverbial road, without it. Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry. So small, man. It's a little one. Believe it or not, I don't have that many pencil sharpeners. I got 2 in my bag in my car, and then 1 in here. Yeah. All right. So, okay. Also, if you want to take a class, guys, classes you can take at browserworld.com/classes. Okay, so that's just some information for you. Let's get back into it. Okay. So, let me see. Exaggerated. So, show how the examples of how different proportions affect the overall character and expression. So, it wants me to show how Different positions affect the overall character and expression of a character. Okay, I just did that. I went through different proportions. I showed you like what you can do. If you go with, let's just say you go with bigger eyes, a longer nose, and a little mouth, right? Or, you know, and I'm going to tell you the best way to do it is to think of your features as shapes, and this way it's easier. So once you do this right here, you know, you got eyes, nose, mouth, right? And so if you draw a shape like this, right? Okay, then you saying to yourself, I want my features here to be close. I want my nose to go about right here. And then I want my mouth to hang out about right here. You get what I'm saying? So if you think of it like a shape, then it's easier. You know which way is going to be favorable to the person I'm drawing. So if you got this, and let's say you want to go with something where everything up here is wider and everything seems to kind of taper down, well then now you have a situation where you have all your features being drawn kind of out from each other, right? And then here, and then you have your mouth shape kind of coming down here. This might be the drop in between, you know? And then you have your forehead shape and your eyebrows. So this might, you know, result in a different, like an alien kind of a look, like an alien, you know what I'm saying? But it could also be cute, you know what I'm saying, depending on how big you go. But, you know, if you put more space between this one, what happens when you put a lot of space there? You know what I mean? So let's say we want to draw her. Well, let's just pick a random person. It doesn't matter. Excuse me. Excuse me. Let's say we want to do something like that. Okay. Let's just find somebody that we can do this with. All right. Let's see. Maybe him. Okay. So let's say we use this exaggeration on this guy. Well, it wouldn't work really. I don't see this one working. Not for him. It ain't gonna work because his head shape is too big, like this. He got a lot of head around this shape, and the eyes are just too close, too far apart for this exaggeration to work. So I don't want to do this. The only thing that's going to work with him is exaggeration where it's upside down like this. Okay, so everything literally needs to be like watch this. Like everything needs to be like super close in his picture. So very little, right? Like this, and then we going. Oh wait, I didn't do it as super exact. Okay, look, everything needs to be super close here. Watch. If I do this and this, I'm not thinking about what I'm seeing in the picture. I'm thinking about what would best suit this guy. This is the drop between his thing and his mustache, right? And then as it gets down here, everything needs to get bigger. So everything needs to flow outwards from this point, like this. So my beard shape, his mustache should be out here, and then his bottom lip is here, and then look, now we got the floating chin, and then we got the other floating object, and we can see here that everything else is just kind of going to match up, right? Then you can see here that when we do this, all this exaggeration is going to make sense. You know what I'm saying? Because the head shape is obeying the shape that you drew inside of it. So that's really a rule of thumb when you're drawing a head, is that whatever your head shape is, generally your features are the same as your head shape. So if you have a pear head, more than likely your eyes are closer to each other than your mouth is bigger than your eyes. If you have a big forehead, more than likely you have proportionately spaced eyes, or you have eyes that are wider from each other, and you have a smaller mouth, and you have a tapered nose. You get what I'm saying? If you have a really huge nose, like somebody punched you in both sides of your jaw, and your jaw just squeezed in. Well, your nose is really, you might have a really big nose, right? But you got some people that have this anomaly where they have a big nose, but they have, their eyes are really small, so their head tends to look like a peanut. So everything up here is small, or everything up here is close together, right? And then this is big, right? But this right here is like really kind of pinched. You get what I mean? So everything is kind of pinched right in here, and then everything gets wide here and wide here. So with this one, you could also have regular sized eyes. You get what I'm saying? So if this is just a regular size, you can go like this, and then it's kind of like your features are being pushed through this thing, and then when they get to the other side, they get big again. So it's like whatever is in here is going to get small, and then whatever is down here is going to get big, and these are going to get big. So you have to, your head shape is so important. Yes, it's the balloon technique. Yeah. But it's so important to do it that way. Yeah. Okay. So let's go ahead and this is, again, we're just explaining how examples of how different proportions affect the overall character and expression of the character. Okay. If we go to a female face, let's say we're here, right, and we want to do something with this picture. Well, the thing is with this one, what I would do here is I'm looking at what I'm seeing. I'm seeing one eye, a nose, and a mouth. So I know one thing. I know, number one, this is going. I need to get this potato chip on the paper. Okay. Once I get the potato chip for her head, now I'm gonna come back here and I'm gonna say it's no different. So what I'm gonna do is do a little shape, like a little triangle like this, and then I'm gonna have this as the exaggeration point of her picture, the roundness and upness of her nose, right? I'm not going to put a lot of space in between her nose and her mouth. So my lip shape is going to basically be hanging from right here. So I'm going to basically do something like this, right? And then I'm going to do something like this, right? So here is her eye, and then here is her nose, and here's her mouth, right? So now from here, I can go with her eyebrow, right, up here, right? And then I could go ahead and I could add the outside of her eye, like this. You see? So then I can shade underneath the nose, right? I can't really see the other eye over here. In fact, I'm going to cheat and put her hair right there. Since it's over here, I'm going to move it in some. Okay, and then all I do is come back and I look at my cheekbone structure. I come down. I come up. All right, and then you can see my hair. Her is in here, right? So you got this, right? And then you got this, and that, and that. All right. Add some eyelashes. Okay. So with her, the thing is with her features, and I actually made this a little bit too big. I didn't think before I did that. See why that didn't make no sense? This is all her features need to taper. So I needed to make her mouth more like this, because then the overall result would have been a better looking caricature. You get what I'm saying? You see how I didn't taper things? Like I didn't follow what I did. I went like this, but I drew with everything with a squared formation, and so my picture didn't come out right. So it's a lot of making decisions and stuff as you're going through this, right? Okay. All right, let's see what time we got. 10:19. That's all right now. Okay. All right. And then we just put our hair on there, right? Just like that. Okay. All right, sounds like a plan, right? Okay, slap. All right, let's keep going through this here, and then we're going to go through and do some drawing exercises and some tips, and then we'll. All right, so let's see here what we got. We got this one here. This one looks like a good one. He's got a lot of character in his face. So let's see what we got here. All right, so for this one, I will go. I'm gonna go with my eye. I'm gonna go with a bigger nose here for sure. So I'm gonna have my eyebrows here. I have my nose about right here, and then I'm gonna have my mouth about right here, and that's it. And then I'm gonna put my center line about right here. Okay, so my brows are gonna sit on this line, and my eyes are gonna sit on that line right along with them. So I think I'm gonna want some little triangles like this, and then if I need, I can just bring them in like this. So this is my eyes here. I could have went even closer with them. I could have pushed them all the way in the middle, but that's okay. Then we got this nose here. His nose looks like a violin to me, not like a violin. It looks, you know what it looks like? It looks like God, what am I thinking about here? It looks like this. I'm just gonna draw it. Something like that. It looks like a violin. If you look at it, look like a violin. All this space right here is his mustache. Now see how things are getting bigger as I get down here? All right, look at my eye, look at my mouth shape. All of this gets bigger, right? And it's because his face, I want to do this with his face in my character. And I want to move everything inwards. You understand what I'm saying? I want some type of exaggeration. I don't want to just draw a regular picture of him, right? Then you come over here and you got something that follows is in the side of your head. Maybe add a little bit of roundness on the outside. And then we'll just add our ear shapes like this. And you can see that it makes a more convincing way to put your ear shapes in. Right? Okay. You get what I'm saying? Let's see what would have happened if I would have pushed it all the way in. Let's say kind of like this. And then do like this here. Just two little circles. Like that. Oh yeah. You see? So this is why you can't just copy a picture. Because if you just copy the picture, it ain't gonna look like it's not gonna look right. You'll never get it right just copying. Okay. This right here is easier. It's more ways to flow. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So look at how I was able to maintain the likeness, right? Because of science. I understand the science of it. You get what I'm saying? There's science to this. It's not about just drawing what you see. It's about knowing the rules and playing by the rules. Okay? All right, hey, thank you there. I see somebody, Matchless Minger. Thank you. How are you today? All right, let's go ahead and get back into it, guys. Okay, let's pick another face here. What time we got? 10:24. Let's keep it light. All right, this is a good one right here. So what would I want to do with her? For her, it's a no-brainer. I'm going to taper her face. Everything's going to be tapered. Her eyes are going to be super big. Her lips are going to be super small and cute, right? So this is what we're going to do. Watch. Okay, so watch. I'm going to move everything outwards and make them. I'm gonna make everything long. All my shapes are going to be long. Watch it. So right here, Watch my eye shapes. My eyeball shapes are gonna be long and big. She's gonna have really big eyes. I want you to be looking into her soul. I want this nose to be a little button nose. And then I want little lips like this big. They're so big, they're so little, they're like way in here like this. You see? So now what we do is we add more length to that part. We want to make sure this is big. And then we add the bigness around it. You see? Then we come back with, look at I'm tapering my head shape. I already know my head shape tapers. 1, 2, 3. My head shape tapers. And I like to use smooth shapes, right? See her neck right here? Now we got 1, 2, 3. Now we got so look at now up here, everything gets wider, right? So when I get to the top of the shape here, I'm not going to taper. I'm just going to, not as much. I'm going to go 1. I'm going to go 2. And then I'm going to go 3. But then I'm going to add her little hairs here. Watch. This is her. You see these little baby hairs? And these little hairs here. This is her hairline. You see what I'm saying? And this is her hair. You see? Okay, and then you got these 2 little balls up here that are her little, right? Right? Okay. Okay, this is an elementary caricature, but you get what I'm saying. This is, you know, I'd rather you draw this in a bunch of fancy lines that don't look like the person. You know? You hear you? All right. All right. So you see what I did here, I made a determination about like what I wanted to do. I want to taper it. What do I want to exaggerate? And really just hinge off of the nose. Do you want everything to get bigger? Do you want this nose, when it flows through the nose, do you want things to get bigger? When it flows through the nose, do you want things to get smaller? Do you want your nose to be the biggest? You know what I mean? So I'm looking at that nose. I'm always studying that nose because your nose does give your face a lot of character, right? But at the same time, it's let me see here. Now she has very interesting eye shapes here. Let me see. Hers are very I would definitely taper hers. But it seemed like I wouldn't make them long though. Her shapes are not long. They're really kind of short, which is crazy. And then she has little shapes. So right here she doesn't, in order to make her I'm gonna have to taper her features, right? So we're just gonna put tapered. But what I'm gonna have to do here also, okay, is I'm going to have to make them also in small features. So I'm playing with small features that I need to taper, which means I'm going to have to leave more space in between the features. You see what I'm saying? So everything is going to be more space. So I'm tapering everything, and everything should get smaller. She has a classic moon lips as they go down, right? And then here, you can see here that she has a really, really, really angled face. But remember, everything must taper after so you got your cheekbones. I'm gonna make her cheekbones up here. And then I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3. And then when I go up here, I want everything to go kind of round. So I'm gonna kind of sit off of this. I'm going to make this shape round. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. And then I'm going to go 1 and I'm going to draw a disciplined shape. Remember, these shapes need to be disciplined, especially when you have hair that is kind of rotting the shape of the head. Now here, what we're going to do is just go down, and then look, we're going to follow the head shape, and we're going to go down, and then we're going to go around, okay? And then we go down, right? And we go here, and we make our little layer, and then we come from under that layer, and we make our new layer here. Let's put our neck shape like this. She got like a nice long neck shape right there, okay? Now we'll put our little eyeballs in there, right? Like this, right? And then we add the top over it and the bottom. And we want to keep the shape short, right? So we don't want to add too much to it. And then we just put some lashes on it like that. Okay? You see? So it's not really that hard to do this if you play by rules. Okay? Think about what it is you want to do. Say it in your head, and then you kind of just do it. Okay? So guys, I'm going to go ahead and get ready for my word of the day. I'm not going to stick around much longer here. Oh, great. Hold on a second, guys. Awesome. Okay. Okay, hold on. Uh-oh, I didn't mean to do that. You can't, sir. Hold on. How do I get out of this mode here? Hold on, let me see. Hold on. Cancel. Oh, wait, I gotta do this here. Wait. Alright, hold on, guys. Alright, there we go. I look like I did something here. Let me see. That's not, I want to do this. There we go. Uh-oh. Hold on one sec, guys. All right, there we go. Well, we should be good enough. We're going to go ahead and get into our words of the day real quick. So, anyway, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the stream today. Again, if tips are on your heart today, thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you. Tried to teach you a little something today. Okay. Hey, what's going on? The amazing digital moments. Oh, you from Buck? Okay, awesome. What's going on? How are you, my friend? All right, so we're going to we're pretty much, guys, coming to the end of our live stream. I'm not going to keep you guys here too much longer. I know y'all got something to do on Saturday, all right? And I don't want to keep you from doing that, right? Yeah, exactly. The center point to start the caricature, exactly. You know, you just go in, and you go on Pinterest. You find you some faces, and you do some things with it. You know what I mean? Like this one right here, we can. Interesting. That's funny. Okay. That's pretty cool. These guys have real strong facial features here. Mm-hmm. Here they get a guy right there. That's a funny one. Okay. And let me see. I'm just having a little fun here, guys. Just showing you that this thing works. My next stream, I'll probably I don't know. I just kind of play it by the seat of my pants when it comes to streams because I don't never know what I'm gonna feel when I wake up that morning. You know what I mean? So I just kind of go with it. You know what I mean? And so just come back. Right? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That one's funny. Okay. Okay. And that one came out pretty cool. All right. So now it is word of the day time. So let's go ahead, guys, and do a little word of the day. So we can leave here with some encouragement, right? We all need that. Not unless there's some perfect people here. And I'm sorry that you came to this imperfect stream, right? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Okay. So, anywho, I'm going to go ahead and get out my book, and we're going to go ahead and in my Bible, and we're going to go ahead and just going to do a little word of the day with you, and then get you guys, on your way. So let's go ahead and let's go ahead and pause our music real quick. I don't really think we'll need this anymore because we're not going to be drawing any pictures. So what I'm going to do is put this up here. Let's see here. I think I'm gonna put this here. Okay. And just in case I need to illustrate something, we'll go ahead here. Okay, so what I was gonna do, guys, I'm gonna go to the book of Hebrews, and I want to. I always like to try to, or attempt to connect, what I'm doing with God's word, because if I can see it in my mind, when things start to make sense to you, to me, that's when I really start, when I start moving in a direction. So I'm the type of person, I got to see things have to, make sense to me. And so this is why we do this. We want to give you something positive to leave here today, not just learning how to draw, but perhaps there's someone here dealing with depression, or you're dealing with an addiction, or you're dealing with a stupid habit, like you just can't shake a habit that you have. You keep referring back to it every now and then, all that kind of stuff. This is why we do this part of the stream. Me and my wife, initially we started Rouse the World as just to draw caricature, but then we from learning from being artists, right, we decided that, as we started diving more into the Word of God, we started to see these connections between art and God, and how He does things, the order in which God does things, the rules that we have to, you know what I mean? I think too much in our life, sometimes we don't how can I put it? We don't like order and we don't like rules, even though we think life is just fun all the time, right? Fun without this, no order, no rules. So, as I draw caricature today, I want you to see that everything was pretty methodical about how I put this information out to you. The first thing I explained to you was about proportions, how to draw, what's important about caricature, right? Proportions, okay? And what is proportion? Remember, we said proportion is how much something is based off another. In other words, if I have this is a circle, this side is disproportionate to this side, right? If I move it in the middle, then these sides will be proportionate. And that these words have the word proportion in them, which means proportion is a part of something. So in caricature, we explained today that in order to be able to draw a caricature, you must first decide what shape you want, right? So we must have that. That means that's a rule, and that's an order, right? It's not whether you like it or not. It's just how it goes. So you might just sit there and say, I don't want to, right? But this is a rule. This is an order of the way you do things. You have to decide what shape it is, and then now you have to decide, okay, how much of this shape is going to be dedicated to a certain part of my caricature. So I said here that this first line represents where my eyes would go. This second line would indicate where my nose would end at. And then this third line is kind of like what the space is between your nose and your mouth, but also where your mouth hangs off from. So you wind up with a space like this. All right. These are rules. This is order. So when you have rules and order, you tend to move faster. You tend to be more efficient at what it is that you are doing. And so this is really how God works. It's a lot about, it's a lot about when I first started drawing as a young artist. Okay, excuse me, my hold on a second. What happened there? Hold on a second, guys. Let me go to let me see. All right, sorry about that. I had to readjust my lights there. Okay, growing up as a young artist, I didn't like rules and order. I didn't know the rules and the order. That's what I am. I'm an art teacher. So what I'm here to do is teach you rules and teach you the order, right? And then to teach you to be creative within the rules and within the order. So I'm not trying to take away your creativity, but what I'm trying to do is give you structure in which to apply the creativity in. Okay? So in order for us to do this, I saw some scripture here, and I thought that, you know what? It would be awesome if we went through this and we talk about, I don't know where my mind's leading me here. Hold on a second. Wait, I just feel this. Hold on. Timothy. Okay, hold what you got, guys. Hold what you got. I'm just going to the book of, not Timothy, it's in the book of James, actually. Hebrews, James, here we go. Okay. Hold on. Okay. 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 Give me a moment, guys. Okay. Nope. Okay. Okay. Okay, here we go. All right, so this is what we're going to go. We're going to actually go to the book of James. But first, we're going to go to the book of James chapter 1, and we're going to go to verse number 2. Okay? And we're going to read through there, and we're going to talk about this. So, because I just thought it was order. Yes, that's right, Hawkeye. In order to step outside the box, one must follow the rules first, right? And I don't think there's really ever a situation where there's no, human beings came up with that. We came up with the exception to the rule, because the exception to the rule is kind of our way to justify whatever it is that we do. This might not be the actual purpose of this, but we're going to make this the new purpose for this as an exception. You know what I'm saying, to the rule, and after a while, we just start normalizing stuff. So, I always look at it as in using the rules to your advantage. You get what I'm saying? For instance, in Caricature, I showed you how different. If I move these lines, even if I use the same shapes, but I move these lines around in my picture, right? And I make these lines like this, right? I'm getting a different person every time I do this. You get what I'm saying? None of these people look alike because their proportions are different. You get what I mean? But now based off of how you do this, you can bring certain features to light in a person's face. It's kind of like taking a picture with a camera. If you ever took a picture before, if you take a picture with the camera too far at a down angle going up, well, what the effect is going to be, especially women, all my wife always complain about this, is it makes you look like you have more weight. You look chunkier when you take a picture at that angle. But if you take a picture looking down at the person or at an angle coming down to the face, then the face is at a more favorable angle. Therefore, you're going to look more pretty. So people take a picture. That's just a rule of photography. Well, this is a rule of drawing caricature. Then there's a rules to live life, right? Why would everything around you be based off rules and order, but then there not be rules and order, but there not be a master way? Like everything works like this. Like, why wouldn't we believe that God works this way if He's showing us this through every single thing? In fact, with me, I've seen one shape in nature that is so powerful that it completely transformed the way that I drew everything, and it was called the hexagon. When I learned about what this shape can do, I was just like, everything is based off of it. It's like so many things are based off of this shape. And so it was just so incredible. And so here I'm going to read about in the book of James. It says, dear brothers and sisters, it talks about faith and endurance. When trouble comes your way, consider it opportunity for great joy. It says, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. It says, so let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. Okay. Now, the first part of that really impacted me because we're going to go through, I'll go through problems and things in my life. In your drawings, you're going to go through things that you don't know, right? But in order for you not to get discouraged and keep going on, you must understand that this is what life is all about. It's all about you not knowing and then figuring it out. And what we must do is we must find joy in the journey of the act, because there's not much joy once you learn it. There's not much joy when you don't know it. All the joy comes in the middle when you're learning it. So when you're going through a trial or tribulation, when we have this mentality of no order, no rules, no God, if we have that type of mentality, then we can't operate in this way. We can't overcome those issues and those problems in our head, because ultimately, why are we doing this? You get what I'm saying? We need to consider it joy instead of considering it a setback. In other words, let me break it down further. When you look into a situation, think about like this. Think about how you can simplify the situation so that you could really wrap your mind around what's going on. And I'm talking about within you. What I do daily, my prayer time is this. I'm a person that prepares for the worst, but I expect the best. Okay? I'm prepared. Like, if tomorrow I came home and my wife packed up and left with everything and took all my kids and just left, this is what I pray about. God, how do I deal with that? How do I become so focused on you that I'm able to rebound from anything that this world can throw at me? You get what I mean? So I'm always, when I'm feeling some type of way, when I'm feeling distressed, right? I consider it joy, because now God has allowed me an opportunity to be able to look deep within myself and figure out how to get out of the anger, how to get out of the frustration. And then when I figure it out, the next time, then I'm going to reapply that. Now I've got rules, and now he gave me a mind to establish order in my brain and rules in my brain. You finna go there, ain't you? This is the talk inside of my head. You about to go there, ain't you, Harry? Yep, I'm pissed. I'm pissed because this, and this. You get what I'm saying? And then the word of God comes. Focus your thoughts on things that are uplifting, edifying, the fruits of the Spirit. You're supposed to be focused on these things. Don't focus on the negative things in life, because when you take a hit, you're going to stay down if your mind is always in the gutter. Now, it says here, for you know that when your faith is tested, your endurance has a chance to grow. This is what I'm telling you right now. And when you go through these situations, right, when you apply the word of God, just like it's no different than you didn't believe in anything of the things that I'm telling you today on this caricature thing. You might not have believed any of this. You might have never seen any of it. It might be completely new. You might be sitting here saying, oh, wow, that's cool. That's a great way to draw that. You get what I'm saying? And then you go out and you try it, and then it works for you. Well, what happened is you got a little bit more faith in it. And then the next time you got a little bit more faith in it. You get what I'm saying? You can't get faith in something when tragedy happens. You need faith before the tragedy. You need to invest in your faith right now. You get what I'm saying? While there's not a storm in your life, that's when you still need to practice faith. It says, So let it grow, for when your endurance is fully developed. So once you've done this enough times, fully developed, you will be perfect and complete, needing nothing. This is the walk of the artist. As I walked through, when I first came in, I was excited. I was overexcited. I was doing too much. I was trying to do this. I wanted to, yes, I want to be an artist. You know what I'm saying? I went in with all of this fire and ambition. And then I went through the learning and I got beat up and beat down and all this kind of stuff right here. And then I started learning different techniques here and learning from over here and over there. And then I kept practicing it, building these concepts on top of concepts on top of concepts. And then I started to believe in these concepts. And then as I got down the steps, I started realizing something, that as I got toward where I'm at now, I'm in my 50s. I've been drawing for almost 50 years. And I'm seeing that, wow, I went from all this confusion only to lead me back to rules and order. And when I apply strictly rules and order, my caricatures come out stunning. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to make up nothing. I don't have to take a long time on that picture. I don't have to worry about whether they like it or not. None of that stuff. I have peace inside, all of this stuff, because now I've broken down everything. God made it come all the way back to the one shape that I told you I saw, the hexagon. I saw it in a vision. And every single thing that I draw is based off of it. I know if I use that as a starting point, I can find my way there. Okay? So now it says, if you need wisdom, right? Ask our generous God and he will give it to you. You must. This is a mentality that we must have. This is a rule. What I'm telling you now, a lot of people look at the Bible when they say, I believe in God. Right? They might believe in God, but they believe in God only when it's beneficial to them. They don't believe in God when it's beneficial to others. When somebody says, hey man, can you help me do this? And you know you have the means to help them, but you're still stingy, right? Or if you're struggling with something, you still, and I'm going to stop, but you still do it every day. Right? You still talk the same way to everybody. You still walk the same. It's nothing really about you that's changed other than the fact that what you're saying, and you're saying it more likely to convince yourself of something that you don't even believe, and that you're trying to make others around you believe. So you might walk around and play the game of going. But you understand that there's no, and I'm just going to put it out there, that religion is not a thing to me. I'm not religious. But when I have a true relationship with the one and only God. So that's my relationship with him. And so this is the number one directive in my spirit. The number one directive is not to put all my trust in any human being. Not one, not my kids, not my wife, not nobody. I'm not putting all my trust in no human being. Because a human being will do what human beings do. They will act in their own interest if they are not walking in the spirit. They will leave you high and dry. So if you need wisdom, ask the fathers, establish that relationship with him right now. And then it says here, he will not rebuke you for asking. You're in a situation you don't know what to do. Go pray and ask God what to do. And I'm telling you, he will move. He'll bring an answer. He'll bring a resolution to the situation. Now, it might not look like what you think it's going to look like. And a lot of times that's what God did. All of the things in my life, all of the biggest blessings in my life, right? I didn't, I asked God one day, for instance, please God, surround me with beautiful women, right? I looked up one day and I got 2 daughters and my wife sitting up in my face, right? I was like, wait a minute, I forgot to leave out the club. I'm just messing with you, but you understand what I'm saying, okay? Then it says, but when you ask him, be sure that your faith in God is in God alone. So remember, now this is the trick. When you go ask, this is a rule, this is an order, this is the way things go, whether you like it or not. A lot of times you do not receive because you ask with the wrong heart. You ask out of selfish ambition, right? You ask because you feel entitled to the outcome that you're asking for. But never did you ask to say, you know what? I want the outcome that's going to benefit everybody involved. That's some powerful stuff to say. When you walk in, you say, I don't care if I win. I care if we win. That is powerful. That's when you know you got the Holy Spirit. That's when you know you have God. When you start using words like we and us and peace. But if you walk around, you're mad and beat down and dejected and rejected all day long, you just saying, I'm not trying to, make anybody upset. I'm just saying that, it says here, look, it says, be sure that your faith is in God alone. That means when you ask, he can see your heart. He can see what I can't see. You can't lie to God. You can lie to you. You can't even lie to yourself because you can't lie to yourself. If you ever try to look at yourself in the mirror, go in the mirror right now and go in there and tell yourself something you know ain't true and look yourself in the face with it. You ain't going to be able to do it because you know it's a lie. So you got to go knowing, right? Just like with these techniques, when you draw a caricature, you have to know that this works. You can't think that it works. You can't kind of believe that it works. You have to believe it works. That's the only way that you have the breakthrough. It says, do not waver. It says, for a person with divided loyalty is as unsettled as a wave of the sea that is blown and tossed by the wind. Look at the rules and order. Stop trying to go in 10 directions at once. I know you have a lot of ideas. You can't do all those at once. You're not going to even get to do all of those in a lifetime. You're not going to get to do 5 of you might not even get to do 3 of your ideas. But the great thing about this is that you only really need one. You only got to be right about one idea. And if you understand and think about these rules in order, it's saying here that whatever you do, if you are backwards and forwards, I can do it, I can't, and you're not saying, you know what, I will, I can, I shall, you know what I'm saying? And walking in faith. Faith is believing, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. I'm going to read it, then I'm going to let you guys go. You're going to take longer to get to the destination because you're double-minded. And every time a situation in your life happens, you're going to be blown all over the place because that's when you find out what you really believe. As soon as you face some adversity in your life, do you throw God out the window? That's a question. And then it ends here by saying such people that are divided, these people that are divided in their loyalty, such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. If you're using this rule that I showed you about caricature, but you don't believe it works, you would never receive anything from it. If you're listening to me right now, and because I'm professing my faith to you and you have something against people of faith, people that walk in God and believe in God and stuff, you've already, right? You can't expect to receive anything from me today. Don't expect to. Only let me tell you, you always get what you expect. That's just what happens in life. I'm going to go broke. That's where you wind up at. I'm going to be divorced. That's where you wind up at. Whatever you focus your thoughts on, that's where you wind up at. Even if you don't want that because you're saying it too much. You know what I'm saying? Knock on wood. If you ask, if you go to the source, you say, I want a relationship with God today, and you decide that that's the way you want to go, you got to have blind faith. And that is one thing that about any successful person you've seen in life. And again, this all goes back to rules and order and structure. Why does everything work this way? Because everything is tied to the truth. Anything you give your full devotion, attention, and structure to, you will be able to see things that others can't see. If you give a lot of attention and structure and time and thought and really, really, really go in with God, you will see him. And then you will understand that he is very real. And that you're making a big mistake by not using the things that God gave you for his purpose and stop using it for your own. But if you don't dive into that, you'll never see, because you can't see what you don't want to see. You can't see what you don't expect. Most of the time, our expectations determine what we see. That's why God tells you in the scripture what expectation to have. And he says you can have that through faith. The faith means to know and see and believe that which you cannot see with your eyes. You got to have that, because the unseen part of life is just as, or is, actually is more important than the physical stuff of this life. Because the physical is controlled by spiritual things. What can, or what is, was created by what is not known or not seen, and it says it in the scripture. It says their Lord, it says, so such people should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Their loyalty is divided between God and the world, and they are unstable in everything that they do. If you don't have God, everything that you do is you're doing it out of instability. Because you have to understand what I mean by that. God gives us an ultimate long-term goal and short-term ones at the same time. So we're working in the short term, but the long term is what drives the short term. And when God gives, he's made a promise to us that when we use our gifts and talents and we walk in purpose and walk in him, right, in these small situations, that the long-term result is going to be this promotion that we're not going to be able to contain the blessing of. Okay? So guys, that is our word of the day. We simply need to have faith in when we go there, we come to God, we got to come in faith. And faith is built through endurance. Endurance is going through something repetitively and then constantly seeing God's word work for you. And then once you're in, you'll start seeing God in everything. And I'm just going to tell you that God just changed my life so much with adding this order and structure to my life. To when I'm in a situation, I don't feel overwhelmed or overburdened by it. God allows me to look into the situation and see, well, and one of the things, I was a materialistic guy at one time. And then he asked me one day, God said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen if you don't have that? And I thought about it. And I would be like, I'll just be right where I'm at right now. You get what I'm saying? But I was so upset that I couldn't have this. And then it was just like, and then it asked me another question. Where's this thing going to wind up? And where's this thing that you want right now going to be in the next 10 years? 5 years. And then I thought about it. And I said, probably in my garage. Or I won't wear it anymore. Just like all the other clothes in my closet that I bought that I thought I needed, but now they're in the back of the closet and I don't ever wear them no more. You know how guys are. We wear the same 5 outfits. Most guys. You know what I'm saying? And then the guys that don't have it, they got a lot of outfits, but they hate the old ones. They don't want to wear the old stuff. They don't even want, after they wore it, they don't even want to put it on no more. So wow. You know what I mean? So guys, I want to thank you so much for coming out today. Really awesome stream. Very eye-opening for me. Again, guys, if you want to take classes with me, you can take classes at Learn to Draw at rouserworld.com/classes. And as always, guys, if you want to tip, you can tip at $Rouserworld. We do have Cash App. So if you go to Cash App, it'll be $Rouserworld. Okay, so guys, you have a blessed and awesome day. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next live stream. It's probably going to be on Tuesday. All right, guys. Have a blessed one, and I'll see you next time. Do, 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 do.